Welcome to the Sexy and Sacred Show with Sage and Steve, where sexuality, sensuality, and spirituality meet to help you create a blissful relationship that enhances your spiritual path and raises your love vibration for personal and planetary transformation.
Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along. So said Sufi poet Rumi about 800 years ago. And let's talk today here in Soulmates Part II more about this concept of soulmates, twin flames. Is there just one right one? Is there one best right one? How likely are you to find them? Is it even important? What are they called? What roles do you have in each other's lives? So many questions, right? And this concept of soulmates is both very popular and also, I think, misunderstood.
Yes, very true. I've had lots of questions over my last probably 20 years about soulmates.
Yeah, and it's kind of a buzzword. It's, I think, a little bit overused because it's not really defined very clearly. And so people tend to, I think, kind of shout from the rooftops a little quickly, oh, it's my soulmate, this is the one. And there's this sense that there's just the one person, And interestingly enough, a poll that was put out by an organization called YouGov, Y-O-U-G-O-V, in 2021 surveyed 15,000 U.S. adults and found that 60% of Americans believe in the idea of soulmates, that there really is just one right one, a perfect for you kind of person. So it's still, in this modern era, still going strong conceptually. And pretty much all the spiritual traditions have some kind of word for it or a phrase. Of course, in Hindu, we can see that. And then in Jewish tradition, as some of you guys know, I was raised Jewish. Nice Jewish bat mitzvah girl over here, but also very interfaith and shamanic and all kinds of things. I study and practice a lot of traditions, and it's all about love in my perspective. But the Jewish phrase bashert means destiny or meant to be. And so sometimes people use that phrase, bashert, like we were bashert for each other. And of course, we see it in romantic movies and books. I remember, did you see Wuthering Heights at all, Steve? Do you remember that one?
I did not. I saw bits and pieces, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, so those two are a type of soulmate that we're going to be talking about, different types of soulmates. That's a painful type of soulmates. But there is a beautiful line in that movie that I related to as a romantic, thinking of these concepts years ago. I probably saw that in like my teens or something. But the saying, I'll quote it directly, "Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same. If all else perished and he remained, I should still continue to be. And if all else remained and he were annihilated, the universe would turn to a mighty stranger." And so that's about Cathy and Heathcliff, who are these like star-crossed lovers. So we're going to be talking about different types of soulmates, but first I thought it'd be kind of cool to look at the historical origin of it. A lot of people don't know that the concept came from Plato's Symposium, although some people also credit it to playwright Aristophanes, and we're talking 385 BC. So the concept there was, and again, this is a direct quote, "Love is born into every human being. It calls back the halves of our original nature together. It tries to make one out of two and heal the wound of human nature. Each of us then is a matching half of a human whole, and each of us is always seeking the half that matches him." So it was this concept that humans were actually originally made with, I believe, 2 heads and 4 arms and 4 legs, basically like a doubled person, and that somehow something, cosmic happened and we were all severed. And so we're looking throughout eternity for this other, literally one person who's like our other half. And some people would call that their twin flame, which is like a particular type of soulmate. But I have some new concepts, and I'd love to hear your thoughts too, Steve, because I know you think deep and lofty thoughts, and we always love to get your perspective. But I feel like it's important to look at it spiritually and psychologically and also practically. So if you're going to say to yourself, I can't be happy until that one person that you think is kind of like idealized, everything is like perfect with, and until I'm with that person, I'm not complete. I'm not a complete human. I can't be happy. Bunch of baloney, boys and girls, right? No, it's kind of the opposite. You need to get happy first.
Absolutely.
You need to become your own soulmate first. You need to be your own best friend first. You need to be your own best lover first. You need to enjoy your own company first and foremost and always. So if you're going to be expecting someone else to heal you or complete you or rescue you, you are never going to find that, because you're never going to have that perfect fairy tale kind of thing. And I'm speaking as someone who has successfully manifested two what I call higher level soulmates, including the amazing man sitting right here next to me as we gaze out over a canyon and a meadow and beautiful blue skies and clouds.
Seeing the rain falling in the distance and a rainbow out in the distance. And
It's so beautiful.
being so blessed to be in God's presence and
Absolutely.
each other's presence.
And the beauty inside the car. We're sitting in the car right now in this beautiful place up near Lake Sonoma. The beauty in the car and in our hearts is even greater than outside of the car, which is quite a lot of beauty. But point being, even speaking as someone who has some familiarity with all this and has shared this with many people and successfully manifested to higher level soulmates myself, you still need to love yourself first. You still need to acknowledge that there is no one perfect human being, and that's not like you're going to be happy when that person shows up. By being a happy person, by being someone who's emotionally healthy, who has their own interests and passions and other relationships and hobbies and purpose and spirituality, creativity, all these other aspects of who you are, and hopefully physically healthy too, taking good care, God care of yourself, as I like to say. Be that person. By being that person, you're no longer going to need a soulmate. And as we talked about in our last program, you don't just want a soulmate, you also want a body mate, mind mate, and heart mate, right? Yeah. So we would like you to dispel the notion, even though this show tonight is all about soulmates, dispel the notion that there is only one person out there for you and that you cannot be happy until you find that person, and that when they show up, magically your entire life is going to, the heavens will part and the angels will sing and the trumpets will play and the confetti will be thrown, although sometimes there is confetti. So you might have heard our story about that with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. We had a vision of confetti being thrown upon us while we were cuddling in bed totally unexpectedly. So sometimes there might be some confetti on some level, but there's still going to be work. There's still going to be conflict. There's still going to be necessity for communication and vulnerability. And you know what, guys? Shit still happens in life outside of you as a couple and also within your relationship. So shit still happens both in your lives and in your relationship. But when you have a strong partner who is a body, mind, heart, and soulmate, one of the good kinds of soulmates, which we're going to be getting into, by your side, I do believe that you're stronger together. I do believe in romance. I also happen to believe in marriage, but that's, a controversial topic. You don't necessarily have to be married with a piece of paper or blessed by a priest or, whatever. But whatever that vision of a healthy, committed, fully, both of you are not 50% in, you're both 100% in, and you also have life balance and self-love. Whatever that looks like for you, having that person in your life is really one of life's greatest blessings. truly, truly is. So we're going to go over some key points here. Number one, telling yourself someone is a soulmate, you might be being kind of slightly delusional. Most of the time you probably are, because everybody looks like a soulmate for the first 6 months. What? Everybody can feel, almost everybody who's decent, pleasant to be with, mutually attractive, you can enjoy doing things together kind of human being. Many times they will seem like a soulmate because you're projecting that, you want that, you're hoping for that, and because of brain chemistry. And we're going to talk more. Actually, Ghost wrote a chapter in a book about love compatibility about brain chemistry. And the fact is, dopamine is running rampant for the first 6 months, and it makes everybody into a dope.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So you kind of can't trust yourself to make like big long-term life decisions for like at least 6 months. After a while, those brain chemistry hormones will calm down and you'll get more into the oxytocin, which is the lasting positive brain chemical hormone for bonding, for long-term bonding. And you can trust your decision making a bit more. And it actually gets down to what you call a normal level after about 2 years. So you have an elevated brain chemistry of basically being high. And that's the in love with being in love, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I know I have fallen prey to that, of being in love with being in love. And you think it's this person, but it's actually the feeling that you're having. It's the in loveness. And you might be attributing the fact that you feel very happy to this one person being in your life. But that's kind of the short-term in loveness, projection, honeymoon goggles, brain chemistry, fantasy, et cetera, which can cause us to feel that even with people who are not a long-term compatible match, who are not a body mate, mind mate, heart mate, and soulmate. So that's key number one. Key number two is be your own soulmate first. You need to not need a partner.
And that's a hard one for most people. Most of us have a certain degree of loneliness and longing, and we've experienced times when we've had some amazing connection with people before. Oftentimes it's in the short term, and then we're thinking that what we want is someone that we have that with all the time. And in reality, that there's a lot other things missing at that point. It's just we get something and we're like, oh, I want more of that, but that may only be a portion of the picture, and you weren't really aware of it. Right. So at which time you actually get into a situation where you are in a relationship with someone who has that full match of all those spectrums, which is a little rare to say the least, but as we found, because neither of us had fully experienced that. We've experienced many pieces different pieces of it with different people, and we've had it,
but not all in one person before.
To actually have it at the level that we've learned with all of this, it gets to a point to where you're looking at at your life differently. Things become a little more complex emotionally. Your brain chemistry is working differently, and you're finding that you become someone different when you are with someone who matches you in all those areas. What Sage has been alluding to is the reality that until you understand those assets yourself, what actually is available to you as far as mind, soul, body, and unless you've experienced all of those, it's not something you're going to attract. So you not only have to experience it with other people, but you have to come to terms with being your own lover, your own being in love with the earth and life, and just be happy to a wide degree of levels, not just a narrow perspective. And then when you have that, then you have the capacity to start attracting more of what you are.
That's such a good point. And I love how you said that, because the light bulb that just went off for me, like ding, 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 as you were saying that. And we were talking in the last show about you want to manifest a body, mind, heart, and soulmate. And what you just demonstrated is you need to be that for yourself. You need to not only be your own soulmate, but you need to be your own mind mate and body mate and heart mate. You need to fill as many of those holes for yourself and fulfill yourself as much as you can to the degree that any one person can for themselves, so that you're not bringing any excessive amount of neediness or projection into your relationship. And you can see what this person really is. So thank you for sharing that. And another key thing about soulmates is that with anyone who is in your soul family, you're going to have that recognition. You're going to have a feeling of familiarity, like an instant, oh wow, we know each other, like the conversation sparkles. With certain ones of them, you may feel a really strong sexual attraction, romantic attraction, particularly if they're also a heartmate. But keep in mind, you also want body, mind, heart, soulmate, all of them. And so I do believe in reincarnation. I do believe that, with higher level soulmates, you have known each other before. And so there is a feeling of coming home. Mm-hmm. When you look into each other's eyes, there's this incredible feeling of home and safety and love and bliss and connection.
Yep, there's a familiarity there that you don't just get this, oh, I'm excited because this person is really beautiful, or they're handsome, or they're smart, or they're this, or they're that, or they're, one or two or three things that might attract you. But there's this ease and flow you have instantly. In our case, it came down to completing each other's sentences and knowing before we even physically met that we have the chemistry that I think we're going to have, that we have mentally talking and emotionally and
before
all
we
that.
Even were
just
physically
before we even
place.
Physically were in the same room together.
Yeah.
And then so by the time we looked into each other's eyes
in person,
I remember putting my hand on your heart, and I'm just having this feeling like, this is it.
And you had that tear rolling down your eye, and you literally said, honey, I've never felt this way about anyone ever, and I never thought that I would, and this is just amazing. And you said something like mind-blowing or blowing me away, or like I'm in awe, or something like that, right? It's like, wow, so this really does exist. You can find it all in one person, but it does require that you do some inner work and healing within yourself, particularly about self-love, getting really clear about what you desire and deserve and what you want in a relationship, communication, turning your wounds into wisdom, alignment, energetic alignment. And we're going to talk more about that manifesting and discernment and recognizing a little bit later in our podcast shows. And
one thing that comes up for me, it doesn't mean everything is going to fall in place and everything is going to be perfect. You are going to be different people. You have a masculine and feminine energy. The reality is being a soulmate at that level gives you the capacity to work through things, and it makes you want to be there for your partner in ways that you might not be willing or even think about with other people. But it gives you more compassion. It gives you a deeper love. It gives you a deeper sense of connection, so that all those differences that you have in relationship and in life, you have more tools and more strength in all of those areas that give you the capacity to make through all of life's challenges. So it ain't about perfection. It's about having the tools and having the compassion and the knowledge that this person that I'm looking at here is so important to me that I'm willing to make some changes. I'm willing to compromise. I'm willing to, do things differently to accommodate what is so incredibly awesome in all these different dimensions. It's like, how do you not want to have that when you find something that deep? Your life changes.
And I think that a lot of what that results in is that with the person or a person who is really right for you in these ways to this degree, you help each other become the best version of yourself. You're not actually trying to change the other person. And I give the analogy that you're dating someone or you're married to someone, whatever, and you want a lot of changes in their personality or their lifestyle, then basically what you want to do is buy a car and replace the entire body of the car and the entire engine of the car. But you're like, yeah, this is the car that I want. No, it's not the car that you want. You can't do that. You can't expect that, right? So it's not just that your great qualities need to connect well, where you actually value those positive attributes in the other person, but the things that are not such great qualities, like I don't have great time management in terms of being on time for things. I'm like in shamanic magical standard time. I joke that I'm on magic standard time. It's like linear time clocks. I'm almost always 10 minutes late. I'll be 10 minutes late to a wedding, to a funeral, my own funeral, whatever. I'm almost always 10 minutes late. But I communicate with people, and anyone that I could be with as a life partner or even my close family and friends, they understand that about me. It's not an excuse. I'm better than I used to be a half an hour late. Now it's, 5-10 minutes or whatever.
We have to adjust accordingly.
Yeah,
you say,
adjust.
Okay, well, I was going to do that, but I know they're going to be late by 10 or 15 minutes or half an hour.
Exactly.
So I'm going to add that time.
You don't take it personally.
And if it doesn't...
Just like the four agreements. You don't take it personally.
Say, well, I told you I need to do it at such and such a time. Well, guess what?
Exactly. You're like, okay, that's her MO. That's what she does. She does it with everybody. Right. It's not personal, kind of thing. But you can still strive to improve various things. And there might be some personality traits or aspects of life that, ultimately the things that you want to change about yourself because you are intrinsically personally motivated to make those improvements. Like, I'm going to release another 25 pounds. Thank you, everyone. I have already successfully released about 27 pounds and I've got about 25 to go. But that has to come from me. That can't be like my partner's like, oh, damn, she just needs to lose that extra 20 or 30 pounds. We're like, no, this is the package, right? You got to love the package that is right now. Maybe that's going to shift. Maybe it's not, right? But we need to have the clarity about what are the deal breakers for us? What are we willing to accept? And it's fine. And in fact, some of our little sort of weird quirkinesses, when you're with a right person for you, you might even find them kind of cute.
They might turn into endearing properties.
Yeah, they're like endearing
versus
and cute.
Something that just pisses you off so bad you can't stand it and goes worse and worse over time.
Right. So definitely...
Which, by the way, usually that means that you have something you need to work on. If there's someone else that's having an issue, there's a mirror that's telling you need to look at something.
Right.
I will say...
The things that trigger us.
I have stuff right now that I'm working on, so I will absolutely own up to the fact that any imperfections I see outside of myself and my partner and the world around me do mean, okay, I need to maybe
take a look at
stop putting so much crap on the rest of the world or on in things that I expect of myself. I need to kind of chill out.
And I think that it's all a mirror, for us. And to be in a healthy, lasting, harmonious love relationship requires that both people be committed to their own personal growth. And you're also committed to your partner's personal growth. So those are all important key points. So let's talk about the types of soulmates, but with a caveat that I don't want you to get overly caught up on, oh, I can only be with this type of soulmate. And, well, which kind of soulmate am I with? The bottom line is if you feel an instant recognition, a deep familiarity, and you both feel that, it's probably a soulmate of some sort. But is it also a body mate, mind mate? Is it also a heart mate? You got to figure that out over time. You can't really make lifetime, long-term decisions for at least 6 months because of the brain chemistry. And this, as we talk about the different types of soulmates, this will help you shed some light on whether a current relationship or past relationships or what you want to manifest into your life, which type they may be. And these are some nuances that a lot of people don't talk about. They talk about soulmate like it's one thing, and there are actually many different levels. So we're going to talk about...
Let's start with the bottom.
Start with the bottom. Okay. Start at the bottom. We'll start with the crappy one. This is the one you don't want. And I don't know if you've ever been with this type of soulmate, but I have, and it is painful.
I won't say names.
Yeah, we won't say any names. And it's not just a painful relationship. It's more than that. And this is a karmic soulmate. Now, with a karmic soulmate, you, like just like with any type of soulmate, you feel something strongly when you look in their eyes. You might have a strong sexual connection. You might feel like time disappears when you're together. You might feel, the soul connection, the familiarity. You might remember past lives. Those might all still apply. But here's what makes it an ouch situation. You keep hurting each other. One person is more available emotionally than the other is usually the pattern, or one person is not at all available. Someone might even be married to someone else. Someone lives in another part of the world. There's some betrayal. There could be cheating. There could be lying. There could be avoidant behaviors. And you might feel magnetically pulled to this person. And if you're with a karmic soulmate, you have a tendency perhaps to stay in that relationship too long because of the strong soul connection, because of the magnetic, but this is the person, this is my soulmate. You know what? If it hurts and if the pain is outweighing the pleasure, and that is a pattern that you are consistently seeing, it's probably not going to get any better. I don't know of any cases. People often ask me, can you heal the relationship? Can you rewrite the karma? Can you heal the past life crap? So you're not repeating the same unconscious pattern of someone's hurting someone, or they're both hurting each other, or someone's always longing for more, and ouch, unreciprocated, etc. Can it be changed? Can it be healed? Can they elevate into one of the more positive types of soulmates? I don't know of any case in which it happened. I'm not going to say never, and I'm not going to claim that I have all the answers to everything in the universe, but I have never seen nor heard of a case of that happening. And I've been working in this field of consciousness and relationships for like 30 years. So it's probably not going to happen because, and usually in those situations, one person is much more committed to personal growth than the other. And it takes two, right? It takes two to create a conscious, sacred relationship. If the other person is not, it's not just that they're not willing, it might be that they're not able. It might be that they're just not at a level of evolution where they can even go there with themselves or with you or with anyone. It's not even about you. They just can't do it, or they're not ready to do it. Get out. Do not, no, run. It's like danger, Will Robinson, no, we do not want those type of soulmates. That's why we say it's not enough to just ask the universe to bring you a soulmate.
Yes, true. One of the things that can really plague us as human beings is the idea that, there's not enough time in my life to do this or that, or life is
but it's
we don't need to get it all done
in one lifetime.
Yeah. So the important thing is to be in as much of our own self-awareness and joy, heart space as we can, as much of the time as possible. Just shoot for being in that space and saying, what's the best being emotional state? How can I be more in love with life, and how can I integrate that with whatever, the partner that I'm hopefully with at that point,
or magnetizing into your orbit.
Yeah. But the reality is, if you have a partner that you are finding there are so many things that you really, really want,
but that are missing.
Yeah. You have to really think long and hard about that, because that may be really something that you need to be healing in yourself first.
And sometimes people are in love with a fantasy. They're in love with the potential.
Yep, because they've had a portion of a physical relationship or a bit of a heart, relationship or something that was really, really powerful. that's what they want.
And you got to be realistic.
That's a piece of the pie.
Exactly. You have to be honest with yourself. You need to pay attention to patterns. Patterns do not lie, and energy does not lie.
Right.
Sometimes people's words and actions don't match, but the most important thing for you to listen to is not even what Steve or I or anybody tells you. It's what your intuition tells you. Your body, mind, heart, and spirit know. When you're in a difficult relationship, whether it's a karmic soulmate or just any type of painful, difficult relationship, you are spending so much time working on that relationship. I remember even the relationship before Steve, I was in therapy. I was with that person for 1 year. I probably spent 80% of my therapy hours for a year talking about that one man, talking about, where is this going? What does he think? What does he feel? Why is this taking so long? Why am I feeling this longing and this emptiness, but yet I feel this love for him? Stuff like that. So if you're kind of like longing and wishing and waiting and hoping and like looking at breadcrumbs, but they did this, no, man, you deserve better than breadcrumbs, okay? Don't settle for less than what you truly desire and deserve in order to settle down. Don't settle for less in order to settle down. That's one of my mantras.
Yeah, and do not feel that there is only one person that's there, realizing that when you become the values and kind of what you want to attract in another person, when you are happy with yourself, as Sage was kind of alluding to earlier, that's when you will attract another person. But there is an infinite amount, looking at the physics that we're looking at nowadays, the multiverses, and there are realities now that are so far beyond our basic human thinking that we really cannot look and think in terms of limitations. So do not think of that. I had found that one person. It's so unlikely that I'm going to find anybody any better than that. Don't hang on to someone because you're like, well, I'm just going to settle for that.
I have to stay with them because they're my soulmate.
If this
is my one chance.
If you can look on all of the basic levels and know things aren't perfect, but you're moving forward, you're growing together, you're comfortable, you're having progress and patterns, then that's great. But if you're finding yourself things aren't happening and you hurt a lot, you just have to step back and say, okay, is this my shit that I have to work on? Or is this something that is really a severe imbalance and I'm waiting for them? If you're waiting for them,
and they're not meeting you and they're not doing the work and they're not able to work through conflicts constructively and your love languages are not being met and your needs, your emotional needs are not being met, then it's probably not a match. Even if it feels like a soulmate, even if it is a soulmate.
Even if the sex is absolutely incredible.
Even so, right? That's true too. So now let's talk about the more fun kinds of soulmates. Yay! So when you've got enough of this information and you've done enough of this alignment and you raise your vibration and you raise the bar for who you are willing to be in long-term partnership with and who you're even willing to open your temple of delights to and be with, sexually, when you raise that up, you're going to manifest a higher level soulmate. And so there's 3 types of higher level soulmates. And the next one up is what I call kindred spirit soulmate. Now, the great thing about a kindred spirit soulmate is there are a lot of them on planet Earth right now. There might be thousands of them. I can't give you an exact number, but it's not one.
Probably
and it's not even a dozen.
Thousands.
There's hundreds, there's thousands, there's probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And these are people who are definitely soulmates, who you feel that wow with, and you can have that heart mate and mind mate and body mate connection with, okay? With a kindred spirit soulmate, you don't necessarily feel like you're super similar. It might be a little more complementary. It might be not necessarily an opposites attract, but like a complementary kind of thing. Like they do this and you do that, but it works out. It works out really well. You get along well, you communicate well, there's a good spark. And people who are with a kindred spirit soulmate who work with these concepts often feel like this is the one. They often do feel that. And so that's fine, right? That's great. The good news is there are a bunch of people on planet Earth right now of the gender or genders that you're attracted to, who meet your most important standards and are not the deal breakery types, okay? They exist, and there's more than one of them, and you can manifest them and magnetize them and co-create a beautiful relationship with them. So kindred spirit soulmates are great, and they are available for you. And all it takes is one. If you don't want a polyamorous situation, if you want a polyamorous situation, then maybe you want to manifest 2 of them or 3 of them, whatever your dealio is. But they exist, okay? And it's not that hard to find them once you have the alignment in place. Next up, we're going to talk about the highest level of soulmates, which is your twins. Twin flame, twin soul. They can be slightly different. They can be the same. There's a lot of different interpretations here. Twin flame or twin soul, there's usually only one of. They might be the same person as the twin flame and twin soul, or you might have one twin flame and one twin soul. Personally, I think I have manifested a twin flame and a twin soul, which is pretty freaking amazing. And one of them is right here next to me, and he's so amazing. I'm so blessed to be in that place in my life and in my spiritual evolution. He's blowing kisses at me, you guys. I love you.
That's better than blowing raspberries.
Well, we'll talk about other blowings later, but anyway, your twin flame or twin soul, it's like literally, it's magic. It's amazing. It's like you might dream about the person before they show up. You might know before you even meet, like Steve and I knew. We both knew before we even physically met. This is the person. This is my person. Mm-hmm. This is the one I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. This is the one that I've been preparing myself for all along. Like this is the reward I'm reaping, from all my years of inner work and healing and everything. This is it, So you feel that with your twin flame or your twin soul. Now, here's the thing. Twin soul might feel more like a brother or sister. So sometimes there's like, because you're like literally like kind of twins. It's not so much the other half as more like a twin. And these are kind of trippy concepts, right? And we're curious to hear what you think about these ideas too, because we aren't aware of anyone else exploring these concepts at this level. So we'd love to continue this conversation, with you. So you're welcome to put comments, of course. Sometimes with twin flames, those can be a bit problematic because one person might be a runner that even though the twin flame is incarnated on planet Earth, they're not ready, willing, or able to do the amount of inner work to actually say yes to love at that level, or they're with the person briefly, or they're not like fully invested in the relationship. So sometimes it could be a twin flame, but it could be a painful situation, or those could just be the karmic soulmates too, right? And I think a lot of times people misunderstand that and they think it's a twin flame, but actually it's a karmic. So another great thing about the highest level of soulmate, if you are blessed enough to magnetize a twin flame or twin soul in a healthy and positive body, mind, heart, spirit kind of way, is that you often are called to step into sacred work together, purpose, mission, creativity, improving the world in some way, because the amount of spiritual connection that you have and how you elevate each other spiritually is so phenomenal and so magical and so miraculous that incredible things happen when you're together and even when you're apart. When you're in the context of the container of the sacred relationship with one of your twins like that, it's like God, Goddess, the universe says, aha, we brought these two together for a higher purpose.
Yeah.
And so you are impelled and compelled and propelled, inspired, ignited, excited. You want to create things together. You want to step forward somehow. You might want to be supporting their path and they're supporting your path, but there's probably also some way in which you co-create. And the work you do together doesn't even feel like work. It feels like play. It feels like prayer. It feels, again, like magic.
And I just want to comment on the current moment, because we pulled off here driving, going, oh, we'll find a spot and we're just going to pull off and look at this valley. There'll be a spot we can look at and it'll be pretty. We pulled over and I looked over to the right and I noticed this dark mountain and these colors next to it. And I pointed out to Sage it looked like a rainbow.
Yeah.
That was before we started the conversation here. Yep. We were seeing that. And then to the left of that, equidistant from a mountain in front of us, that's a beautiful little dark hillside. So it's this gorgeous snow-capped mountain off to the left, gorgeous clouds. There was a rainbow, and from my vantage point, I was looking at that, and I still think I see a little bit of color. But that rainbow was there at least 20 to 25 minutes.
Wow.
I have never in my life seen any rainbow last close to half an hour.
Even more than 5 minutes usually there.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like,
wow.
The universe brings things to us. It sees things. We have visions. We have common, things happen when we're dreaming. Energy. There's things happen that, as Sage says, that they are magic.
And these are indicators that you are with a twin flame or a twin soul.
Yes.
So it's like another step up above a kindred spirit soulmate. But again, if you're with a kindred spirit soulmate, you're probably not going to feel dissatisfied. You're probably going to feel satisfied enough that you're not really like feeling anything missing or longing. And sometimes your twin that you could theoretically be with, sometimes they're not incarnated. So sometimes literally a kindred spirit soulmate might be the best that you can achieve. And that is the highest level of soulmate that you can be with in this incarnation because of the destiny, because of the soul contracts, because of the arrangements that you made as a soul in between your lives, in between your lifetimes. So if you do have a twin flame or a twin soul, or in my case, both by some miracle, incarnated on planet Earth, what a blessing it is to magnetize that. So what you want to do with your manifesting is you want to ask for your divine right mate. You want to ask the universe to bring you your best body, mind, heart, and soulmate, the one who is the best match for you. Does it matter whether that person is a twin flame or a twin soul or a kindred spirit soulmate, or that you even call each other that? No, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you feel this level of connection, that you feel this level of harmony, and it will exceed your imagination. It will exceed way beyond Hollywood, way beyond what you've probably seen or heard any other relationship even possible of anyone in your life if you manifest that. And we are here to support you with that. This is part of our purpose.
Yes.
That, at this later stage in our lives, we're called to help and to inspire and to serve as role models and teachers and to hold a space with you. So here's how we would like to ask you to connect with us. You can subscribe if you're hearing this on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. You can put a comment in there along with this show that says, I subscribed. So we will connect with you and celebrate with you. You can share wherever you're listening to this. You can share the link to this episode. You can leave a 5-star review. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, yes, thank you. 5 thank yous, 1 for each star. Leave a 5-star review on Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, sorry. And then Spotify, you can leave 5 stars, but I don't think you can write the words, but you can put the 5 stars. And if you don't know how to do that, you can connect with us and ask us, how do I do? I'm trying to leave a review. And we will give you a little clue how to do that. And you can also join our Facebook group, the Sexy and Sacred Community. And we are a growing, glowing tribe of love and light over there. And it's wonderful to
several hundred
connect
people
with you
in the
there.
group already. So
Yeah,
a lot of like-minded souls
We've got
there.
more people coming
A lot
in
of
every
support.
day.
Yep.
And you can also invite others to that. And it is a private group, so we talk about intimacy with that privacy. And we look forward to connecting with all of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And please let us know what stood out for you here. What did you learn? What surprised you? What are your thoughts? And all comments that are shared respectfully are welcome, and all people are welcome. All orientations, all nationalities, religion or spiritual, everyone, you're welcome to be part of our tribe. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for being part of our growing community at the Sexy and Sacred Show. Please share the love, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and catch us next time at your favorite podcast platform. Until then, remember, you are sexy and you are sacred.